Welcome back, everyone. Sheepdog Smokey here. And before we get going, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you're kept to date or up to date with all new content as it's posted. Diving into this, it seems that London's murder rate has now overtaken New York due to knife crime. Report from Reuters, London police investigated more murders than their New York counterparts did over the last 2 months, statistics show, as the British capital's mayor vowed to fight a violent scourge on the streets. Looking at the numbers, there were 15 murders in February against 14 in New York, according to London's Metropolitan Police Service and the New York Police Department. For March, 22 murders were investigated in London, 21 in New York. Going through this, of course, you're going to say, well, they're basically equal. But it is showing a trend. When you look at the year-to-date, yes, New York still has investigated more murders than London year-to-date, but the monthly numbers are showing an increase in violence in London. And as always, liberal politicians rush to blame the tool used. They rush to say it's knife crime or gun violence. And all of this is meant as a method of control. Okay, there have been jokes that terrorists will start carrying around fishing equipment so that their knives are part of their job as far as it looks. But it doesn't matter how many laws you pass. Criminals will still break them. And until that is addressed, nothing will ever get done. You see, it's not the gun. It's not the knife. It's not the pressure cooker or the car or the rock or the hand that makes someone murder another person. It is something in their psyche, something in their heart, that makes them want to commit acts of evil, acts of violence. We've had a problem with violence since man first was kicked out of paradise after original sin. We've had a problem with people being jealous of each other, stealing or lying or committing adultery or murder or assault or anything else, because mankind is a flawed being. And this is what liberal politicians will never admit. You see, they have to know that the tool used is not the cause of the crime. The tool used is just a tool. If knives were the only reason people killed in London, or guns the only reason people killed in the US, then pencils would be the only reason you fail a test. Spoons would be the only reason you overeat. The car would be the reason you speed. And none of that is true. And of course, when a situation arises that can't be used to impose draconian rule on people, it's the person who was at fault. And this is an argument that needs to be resisted and pushed back on until it stops. For anyone who follows me on Twitter, you'll know I own a firearm. I own a couple. I've never had to even consider drawing my weapon for any reason other than when I go to the range to practice or when I compete. I have had to use my shotgun, which ironically Joe Biden says everyone should have, to deter predators in my area because I live in a rural part of the state. Coyotes or other predators start encroaching toward my land. I wait until I can see one. They get a shot or a round of buckshot into the ground in front of them, and they run. That's the closest I've had to do. And I'm very happy that I've never had to do more than that. But we live in a world where evil exists in the hearts of many people. And God forbid someone come into my home threatening me or my family. Or God forbid someone come up to my window trying to threaten me or my family. I have a constitutionally protected right to keep and bear arms. And it's not even for self-defense in any way. It is for national defense against a tyrannical government. It goes back to 1776, after a bloody war against a country ruled by a king that wanted us disarmed so that we would have to pay our taxes or go to jail and have no other options. We happily told them, you may not have our guns, and now you may not have our taxes. And we won the war. And then that right was enshrined to be protected by the Constitution, so that should our government become tyrannical again, we would have the means to defend ourselves. Our military no longer swore to the king. Our military swore to the Constitution. Our law enforcement swears to protect and serve the people. Our founders were not stupid. They know, they know that it's not the tool that causes the crime. It is the person. And they know that you must go for the actual cause. But unfortunately, we now have people in positions of power who actually believe they have a right to rule. One need only look at Chicago as a city, look at California as a state, Baltimore, New York City specifically. Areas run by gun control freak Democrats who have imposed more and more and more and more and more restrictions on their citizens, while crime does not have any effect on it. If gun control worked, Chicago would be one of the safest cities on the planet. California would be an Eden. But we know that gangs still rage in Los Angeles and in other parts of the country. We know that Chicago has a horrific epidemic of murders every weekend, every day. We know that Baltimore has the same problem. Now London is having the same problem, but with knives. And rather than admit, okay, it wasn't the tool, it was the person, they've now switched from, well, gun control worked. We don't have as many shootings, but now we have stabbings. So now we ban knives. What's next? Well, we ban knives, so now they're using baseball bats. Ban baseball bats. Well, we ban that, so now they're using wrenches. Ban wrenches. Well, now they're using cars. Well, now they're using bombs. Well, now they're using this or this or this. Ban, 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 ban. And none of it works. It will never work. You will never legislate morality into evil beings by telling them you can't use this tool to harm people. You will only ever tell them, okay, use something else. And it's a very sad state of affairs when elected officials openly advocate for restricting the law-abiding because criminals don't obey laws. It should be obvious. A city like Chicago, with some of the most draconian gun control known, imposed on its people, yet we still have shootings there regularly. A city like London, where they've actually managed to take away most of the guns, and stabbings are on the rise. Why is this such a hard concept to grasp? Every tool you ban will be replaced by something else, and the evil people of the world will continue to perpetrate their evil upon others. I don't know. Maybe we should institute psychological exams and civics exams and history exams for anyone who wants to run for office. Make them take a harder test if elected, a collegiate level. Maybe if we start actually telling people you want to run the country in Congress, you want to lead the country in Congress, you need to know how our Constitution is crafted, how our laws work, what is and is not a law, what is and is not a historical fact. I can tell you probably 90% of them would be out of a job before they even got into their job. And of course, it would then be decried as racist to actually expect them to be able to do the job. I just keep coming back to that scene from Joe versus the Volcano. I know he can get the job, but can he do the job? I know Nancy Pelosi can continue to get the job by being reelected, but she can't do the job. Neither can Sadiq Khan, Kamala Harris, or any of the others in power now. And only by taking them out of their offices, returning them to civilian life, and saying, you failed, you go home, we'll put someone else into that office who will do the job. And if that person doesn't, they're removed from office and someone else is put in. Will we have any chance of our country returning to any semblance of what she once was? But I've talked long enough on this. Let me know what you think. As always, keep the comments civil. We do not learn from argument, only from debate. Please remember also to like and share the video, as well as to subscribe and turn on notifications so that you're kept up to date on all new content as it is posted. Until next time, everyone, have a wonderful day.